Hello and welcome to the Season 9 CWSFL draft. We are very excited to bring you our presentation after a long spell of cold weather, strong winds, and a long off season. Joining me today is Serox, the league commissioner, as we present to you these Season 9 rookies coming up into the league for the first time. Serox, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Like you said, CWSFL commissioner. Also Pandas GM, but we got a lot of great prospects here in this draft. We're here for the ninth draft of the league so far, and we got four great rounds. A lot of these guys played in the Dev League, and finished up a great last season in that.
Yeah, not only that, not only did we have a great last season in that Dev League, we also are very excited about this expansion that starts as of this season. So we have a couple of new teams, and then we also have the Comets rebranding into the Blackguards.
Yeah, those two new expansion teams coming in with the Gazelles and the Pumas. We're definitely excited to see how that goes and see how they draft here tonight. As we already got the Lancers coming up though. Wow, getting things started. They got a lot of good options. As they have a lot of holes to fill.
Well, the thing is, we all know exactly who they're going to come up with, and it is Luke Montroy, aka Turkey, the pass coverage LB.
Wow.
Yep, that's what we all expected. No doubts about that one.
Incredible pick, though.
I was going to say, keeping up with the old linebacker tradition that Boama brought in, but also kind of left with.
It's nice, though, they do have this back-to-back pick. So as they get Luke Montroy at number 1, incredible linebacker, now we get to see who they take at number 2.
I was going to say, I think that... Oh, and the draft pick is in, and is Leo Ferris, a.k.a... Do you want to do the honors?
It's Dunk. Man, this is a great pick. Wow.
But it's a weird one.
Two great defenders right off the bat.
I was going to say, two great defenders, but at the same time, they historically have not exactly gone along the best. But regardless, the Sao Paulo Pumas select Silent King at 3rd overall, the power running back.
Wow. I don't know if anyone really saw this pick coming, but man, this is a silent one. Didn't play.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Look at that already. Day 1 over with.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was kind of a short day 1, but that's a monumental top 3 picks. We have both Turkey and Dunk going to the same team once again. With the Lancers and how they are, we'll see how that locker room goes. But and then with the Pumas taking Silent King, that guy was actually really high on my draft board.
See, the thing about Silent King, that pick surprised me. I knew the Silent King was high on the Pumas board, but I didn't see it being the first pick. I expected more of a middle round.
I disagree. I think that, looking at him as a prospect, I felt like he was a first rounder, and I think that Henry actually made an excellent pick there. I think that if you had to pick one person, and you're the Pumas and you're really looking to build a culture, I think that he's a good guy to go with.
What is nice too about this pick is it's already talking about there is rumors that Silent King is willing to play anything on offense. He's coming in more as an athlete, not just a power running back. He's kind of a little bit of a do-it-all kind of guy. So it'll be interesting to see how Henry, the GM of the Pumas, gets to use him.
Well, what's more interesting than any of this other stuff, possibly in terms of just draft focus. This is the first time in a long time that an offensive lineman has not gone first overall.
Yeah, probably 3 drafts, I believe. I think the last time O-lineman did not start off number 1 was maybe season 5, and it was JB.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's about at least half a year real world time. So
Three
it's been
straight
quite a while.
drafts with offensive linemen. Wow.
Yeah,
But
that's
seeing
go
these
ahead.
seeing these Lancers though going defensive players, two strong defensive players. They had good careers or good past seasons in the Devs. Uh, you got to think they're trying to really build a defense here, and that's a great start.
Well, what's interesting to me is that, the meta has kind of been, build the offense first, but maybe they're trying to avoid, what the Pegasi ultimately became, which is, you know, a team with this superstar that was able to just absolutely break defenses, but could never, stop anything, followed by a team that could, always manage to pass the ball effectively, but then just got absolutely demolished when it came to their defense again. And, no matter where they switched their offense, they just couldn't make it work.
I mean, at the end of the day, a good offense is only as good as its defense.
All right. And then it's the Gazelles, the expansion team, up on the clock. Let's see what Boama is thinking.
It was an incredible day one of the CWSFL Season 9 draft. We're here for day two. Gazelles get us started. They have a lot of options to go with. They had a great expansion draft. Do they go offense? Do they go defense?
Knowing Boama, I think it's going to be a defensive player. I would actually be surprised if it wasn't linebacker, just because he focuses so much on that linebacking core.
Yeah, linebackers are huge for that defense that Bamoa likes to run. We'll see if he tries to find a young piece to add to that.
Well, one thing that might impact his drafting strategy is his co-GM that he recently appointed. We don't really know how he plans on building teams or what kind of philosophy he has.
What is so great too about that is Bamoa is such a heavy defensive minded coach, a general manager, trying to really focus on the defense, and then goes and gets a strong, great young offensive mind in Hunter Jackson to say, yo, you got the keys to the offense, do you think? That's great. You gotta think that works out great.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly hope so for them. Being able to focus on different aspects of the team, I think will. Oh, and then there's the pick. It's Kazir Washington, the former Hellhound recreated. He used to be a Lancer as Tatum Washington, the athletic defensive back, not a linebacker.
You got to think this is got to be family to Tatum Washington, but man, this was a great defensive back. Had a good season in the Devs. A strong player coming into this draft. Showed out really good also in the Spring Bowl. High on a lot of people's boards. Great for the Gazelles.
And I think he's going to be coming into a great situation. I think he's going to fit well into this, building Gazelles culture. And I think that he could be a key piece in that.
What's also crazy is the Lancers are now on the clock for their third pick, and we're still in the first round.
Well, I was going to say, I have a pretty strong prediction here, because I was going to say, if they draft Luke Montroy, Turkey, they draft Leo Ferris, Dunk, Avery rejoins the league. Avery has to go next, because that's kind of the iconic classic duo, or a trio, I should say.
And not only that, you already got Luke Montroy. You got to think, why would you not add the other Montroy now that you have the chance? You could have done it on that second pick, but you chose not to. Got to add the Montroy duo, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, Avery is really close friends with Turk, so I think the obvious reason for the Lancers trading up for another first round pick is going to be so that way they can make sure to get their guys, make sure that they're getting people who have connections to each other to keep that team active and progressing, as well as building up that culture.
Because that has been the struggle for the Lancers so far. It's the culture. They have not been able to build and sustain that.
And it comes in, yep, it's Avery Montroy, the elusive running back.
Wow.
5th overall.
It's almost like we told you that was going to happen.
Yeah, almost.
That's a crazy one.
All right.
Good
I
pick,
have
though. I do like the pick. Gives them good, solid running back. That you saw what Biggie Dishwasher did last year in that offense.
So my grilled cheeses are ready in the oven, Serox. So I'm just going to leave for a minute. I'll come back and I'll make my draft pick.
Wonderful. So we got the Berlin Hellhounds now on the clock. They got back-to-backs here for pick 6 and 7. Made it to the Gold Bowl past 2 seasons. They don't have many holes to fill now. But who do they take? This is one nobody really knew in the league. What direction the Hounds are going to go?
All right. Just quick note. It sounds less impressive when you say it like that. We have made it to the Gold Bowl every single time except once.
That is true.
All right. Yeah. So for our first pick, this guy has been really key to us in the past. There's no way that we're going to let him go. He just means too much to us. So with the 6th overall pick, the Berlin Hellhounds select Belly Selly. Here, I'll let you get the graphic up there soon. But yeah, no, he's been key to this team. We had a couple of defensive linemen retire this last season. He's been just awesome. We love him. He's a Hounder for life. He actually thought that the draft was going on an earlier point and got excited when he thought he was drafted to the Hellhounds again. Got super disappointed when you found out he wasn't. So, seeing that, I was like, immediately, I knew he had to be our first pick.
Not only that, related to Nelly Selly, long-time Hellhound, won a Gold Bowl with him. It's good to see the family ties get to continue there in Berlin.
And then for our second pick, we're going to go with Laszlo 42.
Wow, a quarterback?
So, hear me out. And I don't want Free Smith to be freaking out because he doesn't have to worry. When I talked with Laszlo, he said that he was perfectly okay with switching positions once he got, some time to play as QB in the devs. And I fully respect that in a player, and I think that that's probably the best way to approach it. And after more conversations, I just felt like I needed him on the team because I feel like he's going to be a good fit into our team culture.
See, we got the Polar Bears now on the clock. They got quite a few options now to go through as they've lost some guys in free agency and retirement.
We have fat ass grandma on the pick.
Wow, I didn't expect somebody's grandma to get drafted here tonight, but it is great. As we all know, anything can happen in the CWSFL.
Yeah, great person, great player, but most importantly, the first offensive lineman off the board.
Wow, this time it wasn't the first pick. It came in at number 8. But now we got the Stags, and they're coming off a strong season and off season. Now who do they add to it?
They have added Jordan Matthews, the physical wide receiver. I think that makes a lot of sense in terms of
I think that might be the greatest hair in the CWSFL now.
That's very true. He does have great hair.
Wow. Jordan Matthews,
right.
Man, you got to tell me what your hair routine is.
All right, we can't delay too much longer. Looks like you sent in Mad Max, the athletic defensive back. Tell me a little bit about this.
Mad Max is the nephew of John Cobb. Won a Gold Bowl back in season 4 with the Frankfurt Lions, now Bangkok Pandas. So Mad Max was available. He was on the board. Pandas need a defensive back after losing Grant White to the expansion draft, so it made perfect sense. Like the Hounds did, you got to keep the family ties going.
All right. And then the Pegasi look like they're planning on keeping it short. And with the 11th overall pick, it looks like they're going with L, the strong arm QB.
Wow. This is honestly, Look, I didn't know who the Pegasi were gonna do with the quarterback situation after they got rid of Omar, sent him to the Bermuda, but I think that is actually gonna work out pretty well for him. Fits the culture great.
For better or worse is my question.
They got old Big P. They got Peyton at receiver. Brought him in from that trade, so I think it'll be for better.
All right, now it's the Pharaohs. We'll see what they go with. Honestly, the Pharaohs have a ton of CJ Jones, athletic defensive back.
I do like that pick. If they can untap his full potential, CJ Jones will be a dog in this league. Related to Cam Jones, longtime great receiver here in the CWSFL.
Okay, and now it's time for the Pumas. Henry is a traditionally great drafter. He was able to do a lot with his Lancers team. And Zaire Johnson, the balanced defensive lineman coming in.
Wow, great pickup. Came from the Anchors out of the Dev League this past season. Honestly, almost switched to linebacker at one point, but stayed strong at that defensive line. And he's pulled out a great job for himself. Came in at a second-round pick here to the Pumas. Should have a great career.
And the Gazelles are back on the clock. It looks like either Boama's awake or his co-GM is ready to send in the pick. Either way, it's Jason Breeze 2, the speed wide receiver.
Wow. They've been very defensive heavy so far in the expansion draft. Now, so far in this draft, and then they flip it over to go receiver. Want to pair him up nice with Hunter Jackson. Great pick. I love it. Should be a big piece moving forward.
All right, now the Pharaohs have another pick here. They actually have 2 second rounds, which is interesting.
The Pharaohs have made it clear coming into the draft they wanted more picks, not so much high picks. They just wanted a lot of them, and that's what they did. They stacked up in a lot of these middle and late rounds, and they're trying to fill the holes that they need to make a push. Now that these playoffs are 6 teams, they want to be one of those 6. Last year was the first time ever they've missed the playoffs? They don't want to do that again.
Well, first time ever, but I don't think it's going to be the last. I think
Strong
that
words for your division rivals. Good thing y'all played twice. Maybe we'll see an upset happen on the schedule.
Well, maybe they upset me, but I think just between the Pegasi, between the Rising Stags. I think that the Pegasi are probably a little bit behind the Pharaohs right now, but if they can develop their rookies.
That West Division is coming in strong, and it has evened out a whole lot. That West Division is going to be a race.
Question is, where do you think the Pharaohs are going to land?
Honestly, depends what they do here with this pick. Because they have Tom Brady Jr., so...
They have picked Osama bin Blocking, the balanced offensive lineman.
Wow.
That is the Yezed.
So, the thing about that pick is everyone knows Mr. IA eventually goes IA at some point. He's good for at least a season, and then that's it. So, it's good that you're at least getting a season out of this. Tom Brady Jr. has 1 year left on his contract, then he enters free agency. He's got a good receiving core right now. Maybe it's time they really unlock that full potential of that offense.
Yeah, and then let's see what the Stags are doing. What's interesting is I primarily know them through free agency, actually. I feel like they get a lot from free agency. I don't know how much they get out of the draft, though.
But they do have a lot of picks here in this draft. So I came in feeling the same way. They're strong in free agency, but it looks like they're trying to get that young core now together.
That first one is Jack Elope. He actually, I think, comes in from either the the 26K server. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure that's where he's coming from. He's a balanced linebacker, too.
See, the thing about this pick is, could have been first rounder if maybe decided not to skip the dev leagues, chose to work out on his own this past time and prepare for the draft. But would have been definitely a first, probably top 3, maybe even top 2 pick if it didn't, if Jack didn't choose to skip the devs.
Yeah, I was going to say I think he's going to be an active player. I think he's going to be sticking around a lot.
Could
I
be a
think
steal of the draft.
I also think he has connection to Moses too, and that with their second pick is Anthony Simmons the second.
Interesting pick here. Related to Anthony Simmons, his son actually. Anthony Simmons was great for the Polar Bears, who actually are on the clock now, and then had a very back and forth career with the Pharaohs. So, like with that, some of these other picks before, the Stags can find a way to unlock Anthony Simmons the second's potential. It's going to be a scary defense.
Yeah. What's interesting is that it's two linebackers back to back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could be a scary defense if that potential gets unlocked. Polar
And then
Bears.
the Polar Bears select Drew Davis the third.
What? Again, another family ties keeping them in the franchise. And look at that, Drew Davis, wide receiver. But this is a different kind of Drew Davis. You know, that last Drew Davis we saw was a quarterback and could be greatest player of all time in the league. Well, this Drew Davis is pretty similar to Silent King. Can do a little bit of everything, not just on offense, though, on defense too. Can play almost any position that you need.
All right. And then with my pick, I'm going to go, he's a close friend of mine, or they're a close friend of mine. They're pretty cool. Let's see. What else can I say about them? I don't know. So here, I'll walk you through a little bit of the backstory since I gotta wait for the signal to send. But so Oranges, they ate a lot of oranges as a child, which caused them to turn orange, hence the name Oranges.
Huh.
So be watching for them out there as one of our safeties, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah. They really want safety. So.
Very, very stacked defensive back unit in Birdland. It's definitely going to be a fight for that playing time.
I think it's going to be not that difficult. Like we have a great team. Everyone's pretty flexible, and I'm pretty proud of the people that we have, and I think it's going to be fun.
Now we got the Bandits trying to make the second pick of the draft.
Yeah, that's you, buddy.
This is all to wrap up the second round here of the season 9 CWSFL draft. So far, we've had a great amount of prospects picked.
Sorry to interrupt you, but with your pick, you picked Progo, the balanced wide receiver.
Wow. Joe, also a player that chose to skip the Dev League, but is one that also was gonna sit out a season to enjoy the prospect games next year that's coming to the league, enjoy some of those bowl games and see what that's all about, but did end up being a late entry into the draft and end up being that last pick in the second round and falling into the Pandas. Kind of taking that last wide receiver spot for him.
Okay, interesting. Now we have the Pegasi back up on the board with what was originally the Blackguards pick, and they pick Philip Allen, the defensive back.
Great pick right here. You compare Philip Allen with Jamari Woods, and that is already a pretty good either safety or cornerback duo. Wherever you want to pair them, that is a nice way to start your defensive back.
Okay, now it's Lancers on the clock. They've been pretty quick about these picks. I think they know exactly who they want. And let's see, it's coming in now, and it's Carrot Kranupa the sixth, and he is a kicker.
What's weird about this is because they already have BP, there's no way this guy stays a kicker because a lot of people are familiar with that YouTuber Destroying. Is very athletic, can probably play anything if he wanted to. Yeah, that's kind of how this kicker is Carrot. We'll see if the position stays. No way stays a kicker.
Drafted an athlete.
Yeah.
All right. And then it's the Pumas select Tyler Hellman, the power running back.
Wow. Great pick. Should not have fallen this far into the draft. Honestly, could have been a first round pick. Best running back in the Devs this past season, and well, almost MVP of the Devs.
Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say that was a great day too. We actually got through quite a few picks. Next up is the Gazelles after this.
It was nice to see the Pumas make some great picks here. It's good to see Henry back in the ring as a GM again. Took some time off from it after being an owner and a GM in the league for so while, but found a way to get hired and get the job for the Pumas.
That was I was gonna say I'm pretty proud of actually how the draft has gone so far. I feel like every team has actually drafted well.
And I think almost every team was getting a lot of the people that they wanted. It wasn't so much, like, dang, man, my guy went. Or a lot of people are getting their guys. The people that they wanted, the players that they want to bring in and help build that culture with, that's who these teams are getting.
Yeah, I think for me, once I saw Silent King go off the board, that's when I kind of realized that, Silent King and Kazir, once I saw those two go back to back, I was like, well, I don't really need these picks anymore down. And I knew that, I wasn't going to be able to get both of them. So, seeing them go, I'm glad that they went so high. I think that's, really, really good for them as players, and that will help them in the future, just in terms of like cementing some of that legacy. But, I'm still sad to see them go, and I would have liked both of them to be Hellhounds.
I really like seeing what the Stags have done so far, picking up Jordan Matthews, Jackalope, Anthony Simmons II. So far, 3 great picks. 3 picks that also add into holes that are on your current roster. A roster that just made the playoffs.
Well, so here's something interesting I just realized. So we all know that the Lancers, and specifically BP, is known to hire a bunch of people to basically be mercenary GMs on the down low.
Yeah, the Lancers are very much like Washington right now, trying to hire all these guys to help them make these decisions.
If you look closely at their entire first round, in fact, everyone but their last pick, because they don't have a second round, they traded up to draft 3 former GMs.
Yeah, BP is looking like he's an owner. He's also general manager of the Lancers. He makes the decisions. It looks like he's starting to figure out, I need some help. I'm maybe, not able to do this on my own. And he's now trying to bring in veterans that maybe not make the decisions, but at least can maybe help steer him in the right direction.
Well, I think he's always known. It's just that, speaking of the Gazelles, it's like losing Bawama that really did damage to him. And I know that he was having...
losing Bawama for the Lancers was kind of like Oklahoma this past season in college football a little bit, losing Jeff Luby.
Yeah, I was going to say, not only Bawama, but then Turkey was back up for the draft, so they had to make sure that they got him.
Yeah. They had to take him number 1.
Yeah, because, there was a team that was not
falling. He was not falling past 3.
Yeah. And because he's smart, he knows how to build a team. He is always going to be active. So, teams are willing to pick him in the top 3.
And it's always good, though, as we get to see what some of these other teams are doing, like the Gazelles. The Gazelles have had a great draft so far, picking up Brazil, Washington. Now who do they go with this third pick so far this draft?
Well, so what's interesting, though, is that this also kind of makes it the Lancers' make or break season, because they've now tanked consecutive seasons to get higher draft picks, and the Gazelles have selected William Simpson.
Wow,
the wide receiver, actually.
I like this pick. Didn't play in the Devs. Didn't choose to skip it. Just not the route came from. Actually, is a hockey player. So very tough. You're not gonna question this guy's toughness.
A hockey playing wide receiver. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd expect like a linebacker, but
Yeah, you think so, but no. Hockey player coming to play wide receiver for the Gazelles. Going from the ice to the field. We'll see how that pans out.
and the Stags are back on the clock.
After a great draft so far, they filled a lot of holes. You got to think, what's left?
Well, I was going to say, I think, in my talks with Yandy, he was very conservative about his TBE. So I think that he's really, like, when he's drafting these guys, he's thinking, he's going to try to just throw as much of the TPE at them as possible, get them, progressing pretty quickly, and just have that team set up for the future, developing long term. Instead of just doing these kind of soldier of fortune deals with these free agents that they've been doing.
As we sit here in the CWSFL green room, with all the other owners and GMs around the league, Stags, I'm starting to look, and it's looking like there's a bunch of teams starting to fall in right behind the Stags as they're kind of turning to fill in these picks. This third round might get firing quick here soon.
Well, I was going to say, what's interesting too is that the Stags have 3 third-rounders, and they have picked Jalen Goodson Jr., an accurate kicker and punter.
Wow, that's exactly what they need. They've been struggling with that the past few seasons. That is something that is a difference maker when it comes down to the postseason.
Yeah, and now after this is going to be the Pumas back on the clock with their second third rounder. Go ahead.
This is the time where a lot of people can try to fill out the depth on their teams in these late rounds. So it's nice to see the Pumas went to trade for another mid-round pick.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's really smart for these teams to, especially these teams with a lot of holes, to just be trading back. And already it's Juan Rios, their GM, the balanced offensive lineman.
Rios, the owner, the man, the guy that brought in Henry to be the GM, and now Henry does the favor and drafts him.
Which I think that Henry hire is going to be the best decision in franchise history for the Pumas.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. But it is good to see the family ties around the CWSFL, as Juan Rios is part of that family tree of Jaquan Rios.
Yes. Not to cut you off too soon, but the Stags have selected Smart Guy 9000, the power running back. Actually, how many running backs have they selected? Is it just the one?
Yeah, it's just the one. The question is this Johnny Muttonchop's replacement
Junior?
down the road, or is this Johnny Muttonchop's just RB2, just a guy, an extra blocker for him? What is this going to be?
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. I think they're going to try to take this the Hound's way, but not to cut myself off too soon. But it's Ragnar Rushington, the Polar Bears GM, Willow. Go ahead, Serox.
This is an incredible pick. Rushington is one that was very big on skipping the depths. Did not want to play for them this year. Had no idea when he was going to enter the draft, but chose, or as always said, when he was ready, that's when he was going to enter. When he knew it was time, and he felt it was time, and became the late third-round pick.
Yeah, and then now it's Moses 2 for the Stags, the GM. That was almost 3 GMs in a row, actually.
Wow. Moses is a big reason why there was a pick earlier in Jackalope, so it's good to see them on the defensive side together, and we'll get to see how they pan out.
All right. Now, Serox, you got to figure out what you want to do for your last pick of the draft.
That much of a decision can be made. It was kind of already a done deal.
Yeah, Carlo Russell at balanced linebacker. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that pick?
This is actually the owner of the Bangkok Pandas.
Oh, Oh,
Also
I see. It's a
formerly known as Jeremy Krause, now retired, and is now Carlo Russell.
yeah. I was gonna say you have to pick him up in the third round then.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I was big on trying to find that third round pick, or that
Oh,
I had to go trade for my third back.
yeah. I was gonna say, and now that makes 3 GMs in a row and 4 overall taken in round 3.
And now we get to move on to our fourth and final round here of the CWSFL Season 9 draft. We've had a lot of fun so far with these 30 prospects that have been taken off the board. We got 10 left here. Still waiting to hear their name called. Who's going to get us started?
What makes this round interesting is this is like 3 Pegasi picks and 3 Pharaohs picks all thrown together.
You gotta love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is
teams that need picks the most, man. It's good that they're at least trying to take some of these players to see who maybe turns into something.
Yeah, just kind of a gamble and throw as many darts on the board as possible. Although they are taking a while compared to everyone that we just saw.
Yeah, everything just went quick, and then it just kind of like, oh, hold up, stop. I guess the Pegasi were hoping a lot more of those teams were going to slow down on their selection, give them more time.
Oh, and that's with the 31st overall pick, Lionel Henderson, the speed wide receiver.
Wow. Honestly, I could have saw the Pegasi picking them a lot sooner, but I guess because it was a late entry into the draft, didn't play in the devs, kind of unknown in scouting. Maybe I decided to trust that Henderson would fall. Henderson did. There is ties to the GM Jamari Woods with Henderson. I think longtime friends or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So
all right, that's pretty good. I was gonna say that's a great way to build a core. All right, let's see. And the Pharaohs have selected Israel Hannibal, the elusive running back.
Great pick. They went and they signed Herb Collins in the offseason. Everyone knows Herb Collins is great at getting a culture started and helping them build it and sustain it. And now they just got a great running back to learn and develop. You saw what Jalen Jones did learning from Herb Collins.
All right, now it's the Pumas up on the clock. And already they have Hall Dickerson, the pass blocking offensive lineman.
Not a bad pick. So this was a weird one. Hall Dickerson entered the draft last year, but chose actually not to sign. Nobody knows why.
Oh.
Just never signed his contract.
Hey, that's an extra year to develop.
Yep, chose to just decide to play in the devs, and I guess maybe enjoyed the devs more, but chose to play in the devs. Played out good.
And then the Gazelles have selected Carlos Thompson.
Wow. That's the real Mr. Unknown of this draft, Carlos Thompson. No one has any idea who that is, but if that turns into something, it might be just a good one.
All right, and now the Pharaohs are on the board. Let's see what they pick up. And it is actually a kicker, Eugene Harrison.
Now, what's crazy about this is I'm pretty sure Eugene missed a kick in the spring bowl because he didn't play in the devs. So you got to think if Eugene didn't do that in the spring bowl, probably a higher pick than this. Maybe that's the pick the Stags take, but that missed field goal in the spring bowl came back and hurt.
All right, and the Pegasi are back on the clock. Looks like they're not quite ready to make their pick. So we're going to have a little bit of time.
Yeah, I'm not really even too sure of who they want to even select here, who they're even looking at.
Well, they have 2 more picks left on the board. And I think this actually might be one of them that I'm trying to remember what the Pegasi traded for. Oh, and it's a speed wide receiver, Calvin Cordell.
Wow. Interesting pick because they already have a full wide receiver room, so it's not sure what Calvin's going to play here for the Pegasi. But maybe we could see Gallon line up at defensive back.
I was gonna say a lot of rookie wide receivers. A new quarterback, looking pretty good offensively long term.
And they have 6 picks in the next draft and 7 in the one after that. All in the first 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the Stags to make their last pick of the draft. Nobody has any idea what direction they want to go here. I mean, they've already probably checked every box off the list so far.
Oh, and it's actually Money Manziel.
Wow.
A quarterback.
Money Manziel?
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know much about him, actually. Do you?
So what's crazy about Money Manziel is Money Manziel was going to enter the draft last year as a quarterback, but didn't happen. Didn't enter and put on some weight. Failed to the 4th round now as a quarterback. And now we're not sure what the future holds.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see what's up with him. I usually down this low in the draft, you never quite know what you're gonna get. These people.
Jared Lorenzen.
I was gonna say these people could be the next Tom Brady Jr., or these people could just end up.
Hey, Hunter Jackson.
The first one pick that we've seen.
Hunter Jackson, about 2 drafts ago, was the last pick in the draft for the Pandas.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mr. Irrelevant is never irrelevant in the league. I will say that.
But now we got the Polar Bears. Their last pick coming in. They have filled some holes in this draft. And they did fill a lot of their holes in free agency. They had a strong free agency. I'm not sure what route they want to go here with this pick.
Yeah, I think it's getting tougher because, none of the guys that they're gunning for directly are on the board anymore. And now they have this, choice between the three people left. And 2 of them are quarterbacks.
And honestly, if I'm them, I'd take quarterback.
Oh. And it's Lucas Greenwood, the receiving tight end.
Wow. Didn't see that coming. I would have took a quarterback if I was them. Give Cody Parks some competition. Make sure he knows the seat is warm and that progression needs to be happening. That's what I would have done. But Lucas Greenwood, good side end. Could maybe not see a whole lot from him for the first season or 2, but in about year 3 for Greenwood could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I think that they're probably going to have him switch. I can't imagine them wanting to create a quarterback controversy this early into Cody Park's career.
Cody Park's will demand out.
And it is Trey Moore, the mobile quarterback for the Pegasi. That makes 2 quarterbacks this draft.
Maybe this is the quarterback controversy everyone wants to see. Who's going to get the job coming into the season? Who's going to beat out who?
I was going to say, I personally am not a big fan of quarterback controversies. I think it's just, it really drags down. And maybe that's just because I'm a Bears fan. And I'm so sick and tired of this. But, all right. And it's a Pharaohs pick, and it's Kevin Moore Jr., Mr. Irrelevant, the balanced quarterback.
Uh-oh, could this be the guy that takes Tom Brady Jr.'s spot if he doesn't resign in free agency? Or maybe he breaks the interceptions record and time to pull the plug. Who knows? Kevin Moore Jr. didn't see that coming. Maybe he switches. Who knows what happens with Mr. Irrelevant? A lot of what-ifs there.
Yeah, this sure was an interesting draft. I think everyone's gotten what they wanted. I think that everyone's feeling pretty good about their picks. It's just now about time to sign them.
I will say Kevin Moore Jr. did have 42 tackles as a safety for the Ravagers in the Depth League. So,
oh wow!
If Kevin Moore Jr. does decide to play defense, he is a very good safety.
That's true. Although with these new position switching rules, he might end up with another spot on the offense. just to preserve some of that TPE.
That could be. That could be.
All right, but yeah, with that, that's everything from the draft. It's all done. We are now officially heading into the season 9 preseason. Any day now, I think probably today, tomorrow, depending on when this comes out. We're expecting the preseason games.
So this has been a great season 9 CWSFL draft. This is a lot of fun. We got a great season coming up, but yeah, this is awards have now been announced. Everyone knows who won those. Now the draft picks are done. It's time to get these rookies on contracts and get them signed up and put into the depth charts. Preseason, the first game is coming out. First games, week 1 is coming out Thursday on the 18th. That was going to be a lot of fun. Same times, the schedules is Wednesday. It's just going to be pushed to Thursday. Everyone knows how the weather is. Let's push some of these games back. You know, you got to get these stadiums ready.
Yeah.
But Saturday, schedule starts back as normal. Saturday will be preseason week 2, and everything starts back as normal. Week 1's coming up next week. If these, make sure you get signed up though if you're a rookie, because if you're not signed by week 1, well, you got to re-enter the cycle.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty rough, but that's just how it goes. All right, and do you want to have anything else to say to our lovely audience?
Good luck to all the rookies out there. Welcome to the CWSFL. You're in the big leagues now. It's a lot of fun. Make sure you just progress, enjoy the ride. It's a good one. You're part of the second round of expansion here in the league. We're at 10 teams now. We're getting ready to enter that 10th season here soon. Season 9 is going to be a good one.
All right, let's go season 9. Let's see how this new playoff format goes. Let's see how these expansion teams and the recently rebranded Comets to the Bermuda Blackguards goes. You know, there's a lot to be excited for. A lot of returning faces, a lot of new players coming in, and I think this is the perfect season to have, you know, a little bit of an adjustment season right before our 10th season anniversary. We got
we got 40 great rookies joining us this season. This Rookie of the Year race is going to be a lot of fun. We can't wait to check that out. Season 9's here after a month of no games. We're back and we're finally ready to get things kicked off and get them going.